Coming upon this magical medieval town, the city of Sarlat. It's a small city, population only 10,000 people, and this is really a hideaway in time. A little town that had been forgotten for the last couple of hundred years. Sarlat is the best preserved medieval town in all of France.
We're in Place de la Liberté, which is the main square at the heart of Sarlat. And this square has a variety of purposes and functions, of course. On market day, it's filled with the market stalls. On Saturday morning especially, it's a really lively market. And then in the evening, the tables come out and the restaurants open up. There's some cafes around it. The town hall is right here, the Hôtel de Ville. You see the church steeple behind me. That's the Cathedral of Sarla. So this is really the central focal point of the town. It has little alleys and lanes leading out from it in every direction, and none of them are straight roads, of course. We're standing in the middle of a town that dates back to the Middle Ages. As you walk around in the heart of Sarlat through these little alleys, you come across these little passages like this that mysteriously lead from one courtyard space to the next, and then you'll find some more shops and a little cafe on the corner. It's like a maze, a medieval maze. Some of these passageways have pointed arches dating back to the Gothic period, the roots of this town. It's amazing. As you look around in these little courtyards, you're reminded of the antiquity of these buildings and the variety of the structures as well. It's just one of the richest historic sites in France. We're in this little courtyard, the court of Malraux, named after the great French Minister of Culture from the mid-1960s, who was responsible for a lot of the historic preservation throughout the country, and in particular here in Sarlat. Because of his work and the concerns of the society, this town was rescued and brought back to life. It really had gotten dilapidated in the mid-20th century. It was falling apart, getting depopulated, and of no interest to visitors. The boom happened after the renovation and the restoration, and you see the result. We have little charming restaurants, beautiful half-timbered buildings, a mix of Renaissance style, as well as the Gothic, and even some earlier Romanesque here in Sarlat. It's truly a miracle of preservation. The courtyards of Sarlat are one of the great joys. You go around the bend, and there's another little restaurant, there's another little shop tucked away. So be sure to get off of the main square and the main streets when you're walking around in Sarlat, and enjoy these little side streets as well. The history of Sarlat really begins with the Middle Ages, about the year 1000. A small village grew up, and it was made of wood, as typical of the era. The village prospered. It had a bishop, a church was established, a Romanesque cathedral was constructed, still stands today. But then there was troubles. There was warfare, and a big fire broke out, and the wooden buildings were destroyed and had to be replaced and rebuilt all at once. It was decided to rebuild Sarlat in stone. So from about 1450 to 1500, the town that we see today was constructed. There's a Romanesque church, there's Gothic buildings from that earlier period, remnants of the earlier history, but by and large, it's a product of the 1450s through 1500. And as a result, we have got this somewhat uniform architectural beauty that is unrivaled anywhere else in France. So we have here a town that combines elements of different historical periods. There's the Romanesque and the Gothic, but especially the Renaissance. And it has a uniform and harmonious appearance that dates back to that time. Sarlat is a living town. It's not just a historical relic. It's full of people. There's some cars that drive through the historical part of town. Sarlat has a couple of main streets. We're standing on one now. It connects through to the main square, the Place de la Liberté. And these are great fun too for shopping. There's wine stores, there's little kitchen gadget stores, clothing stores. There's, of course, always the cafes and some quality restaurants. This town has got about a dozen really nice restaurants. And you want to come here and eat and shop, take pictures. Oh, the photo possibilities here are endless. Every place you point the camera is another great shot. And on a Sunday morning, like we're at now, it's a quiet part of town, quiet time of the week. A few people are out walking around, and it has a real holiday spirit when you arrive in December, as we have. Standing in front of one of the most recognizable landmarks of Sarlat, La Maison de Boitie. It's a building that dates from the Renaissance. It's a mix of architectural styles, especially with the Renaissance, and there's some Italian influences can be seen here as well. We're standing at the foot of the cathedral. I think you might hear the bells in the background. A typical example of the many back alleys of Sarlat. This is Rue d'Albus, and it goes for a few hundred yards, winds around the bend, connects with some other alleyways. There's a network of these alleys in Sarlat that are easily accessible to you when you visit the town. They're very clean. You don't find trash or graffiti in the area. They're doing an immaculate job of maintaining this town. It's really quite remarkable. So when you come here, don't just stand in the main square and on the main busy shopping street, take a few pictures, have lunch, and then leave town. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake. Sarlat is such a special place that you really should spend a few days here at least, at a minimum. In fact, it would be a good idea to spend about 5 days, that's right, 5 days in this area because of the surroundings. You'll find that there are many things to see within 20 to 30 miles of Sarlat. So while you're here, you'd want to rent a car so that you have access to that countryside, and you want to go out and visit the nearby villages. There's prehistoric sites. There's the famous cave of Lascaux. You can see the replica at Lascaux II, and there's rock shelter sites that are really quite interesting, and about a dozen smaller towns nearby. Another advantage of spending time here in Sarlat, 5 days let's say, is that you'll be sure to catch some good weather. Now, it might be cloudy, it might be rainy for a little bit, but if you're here for the 5-day spell, you're going to get lucky and you're going to get some sunshine, at least some bright overcast, and that makes it worthwhile as well too. So don't make this mistake of only coming to Sarlat for a day visit, for passing through town. It's too precious, it's too important for something like that. You really want to spend some time. It's so pretty. Every place you point a camera is another photo in this town. So be prepared to take a lot of pictures. In the daytime, it's great. In the early evening, the photography is a lot of fun too, to catch that twilight and the lights come on. As far as what time of year to come to Sarlat, it's up to you and your schedule, obviously, always, but the best times are in the off-season. Now, the busy season is from May through the end of October. And of course, that's a lovely time to be here, but there'll be a lot of other people here as well. So it will be crowded. The weather will be lovely in May and certainly lovely in October, perhaps a little warm in July and August, and very crowded in July and August. But if you can, come in the way off season, as we're doing. We're here in December, and the weather has been very nice. It's been in the 40s, so that's cold, but it's not bitter cold. And a lot of the days have been cloudy and overcast, but that's okay too. We had a little bit of sprinkle. We've had some sunshine and a nice variety. And the best thing about it is we've had no crowds at all. We've been to monuments where we're the only people there, where you'd have to stand on line in the summer to get in. We have had no trouble getting reservations at restaurants. They've been rather empty. And the market square has been lively with the local people.